Hey, I shouldn't be telling you this, but if you skip this part of the video, you will miss out on the deal of a lifetime. If you click the link in the description, you will see that Atlas VPN are giving out an offer to get a 3-year subscription for just $1.83 per month. That's less than Netflix's latest price increase. Plus, it comes with 3 months for free and a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's the best VPN on the market, and you can use it to watch shows that are not available on streaming services in your country. So you can watch Friends on UK Netflix, no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have a subscription to Netflix. You can even use it on unlimited devices, so everyone in your house can watch Friends on UK Netflix at once. And they keep your searches private, so that we'll all finally stop spying on you. But remember, time is of the essence if you want to get this offer. Just $1.83 per month to get a 3-year subscription by clicking the link in the description below.
Am I the asshole for saying no to picking up my son's half-sister from school? I am a single mom of 2 boys ages 11 and 10. Their father and I divorced 5 years ago after I learned he was cheating on me. He got her pregnant either right before he told me, and that was why he confessed, or right after. But our divorce was not an easy one. He wanted to stay friends, and I could not look at him after what he did. He and I were together for over 13 years. He was also a friend before he was my boyfriend, husband, and to have him betray me like that and treat me as he had was awful. He married his affair partner. They had a daughter within months of our separation, followed by a son after the divorce, their marriage. Last year they lost a baby, which led to the discovery that his wife had cancer. What followed was a lot of fighting between the two of us again. He wanted me to help him and his wife out. He said their children, who are currently 5 and 3, needed family beyond just him and his wife. His own family disowned him for our divorce. They were extremely religious, and she has no family. I told him it would be over my dead body I would help him. He argued that it was for the children, and if not for his kids with her, then for our boys, who could see their family heal and be one. I told him he stopped any chance of that happening when he cheated on me. What I did not expect was for him to tell his daughter's school to call me when she got sick. He was at work at the time and couldn't leave apparently because he had already missed a lot of work due to his wife, and she was home recovering from chemo. I got the call, was asked if I would pick her up, and I said no. Several hours later I got reamed on the phone by him for leaving his sick child at school when I knew they had nobody. This is when he told me how he couldn't leave and how his wife was resting. I told him the babysitter for his son should have been called over me. He told me he was in daycare and I should be fucking ashamed because she was a sick child who is going through a lot and I could have helped. He told me he hoped our sons were going to be fucking ashamed of me. They aren't. And I argued back with him over the phone at the time. But I guess part of me does feel bad for the child. My sons also sensed an atmosphere while they were with their dad after the incident when they talked about me, and I hate that for them. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. He has the nerve to try to manipulate you after cheating? Those aren't your kids and not your problem. I also feel bad for the girl, but it's his mess to solve. Give an inch, he'll take a mile. Say no now to prevent future problems. Not the asshole. He is lining you up to be a mum to their kids after his wife dies. His behavior is disgusting. Stick to your guns. Am I the asshole for telling my sister to stop coming to me to complain about what my husband says to her? My F31, sister F35, Claire, has struggled with her inability to have kids for years. She gets all kinds of questions from people about when she'll have kids, but somehow she focuses on what my husband says about TGE topic and complains about how he constantly makes backhanded comments about her inability to have kids. She once claimed he told her, women in their 30s plus have lesser chances to bear children, or that one time she claimed he mocked her infertility by calling her garden, barren, just like her. I admit that my husband is the type to dish it out, but her complaining seemed excessive because she never liked him anyway. Last week we got together for dinner at my parents' house. My sister came downstairs later while Mom and I were in the kitchen. She told me that my husband suggested she backs out of her IVF treatment and find better use for the money, when she announced wanting to try IVF. She went on about how insensitive and hurtful his words were. I felt upset. I told her she was right to be mad, but she needed to stop coming to me to complain about him as if he was my son, and try to speak to him instead. She snapped at me saying she already talked to him, but since he's my husband and I brought him into the family, then I should be the one to handle him. I told her her reasoning didn't make any sense, but she called me selfish and cruel just like him. It got so overwhelming when my mom sided with her, even going as far as to say I was enabling him. I left and went home. My husband said my sister is just being too sensitive because he was just giving his honest opinion when she brought up the IVF, and said that if she has an issue with him she should tell him to his face. He also said that she's probably looking for an excuse to pick an argument with me and that I was innocent and had nothing to do with this despite her trying to involve me. Neither she or my parents are speaking to me as of now. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. Tell your husband to keep his mouth shut. My husband is the type to dish it out. No. Your husband is an asshole that thinks it's appropriate to comment on your sister's body and reproductive issues. What an awful inconsiderate man you married. You don't seem too far behind him. You are the asshole. Both you and your husband. A match made in heaven. Your husband is deliberately being a prick towards your sister, gleeful in the knowledge that you won't bother yourself to tell him to stop. Why don't you care that he is being intentionally cruel to her? Why do you feel that this isn't your business? Would you feel this way if he was insulting your mother? She's told him to his face. He doesn't care. You don't care. She should kick both of you out of her life, and your mother is totally right to support her. You are the asshole. Would I be the asshole if I told my son why his bio parents gave up custody of him? This is a throwaway. I, F38, adopted my son Lucas, M17, when he was 3 years old. Lucas doesn't remember a life when I wasn't his parent. The circumstances behind Lucas's adoption were emotionally draining. Biologically, Lucas is the son of my older sister Jenny, F41, and her husband Derek, M42. Lucas was their first child, and Jenny and Derek did want to start a family. But, when Lucas was 3 years old, he was diagnosed with a chronic condition. People with Lucas's condition can usually lead independent, relatively normal lives. Lucas's condition only affects his mobility, and with the extent of his condition, he needs to use a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Jenny and Derek said that having a child in a wheelchair wouldn't fit into their image of a dream family. They were considering surrendering custody of Lucas, but I decided I would adopt him. Jenny and Derek signed custody over to me and I became his legal parent. Jenny and Derek regularly sent me money to help cover Lucas's expenses, until they had another child, saying that they could no longer afford to send money. Jenny and Derek now have 2 children, F14, and M12. I live an approximately 3-hour drive away from Jenny and Derek, and since I adopted Lucas, they hardly made the effort to see him, and only saw him during holidays. Lucas lives a happy life with us. He lives with me, my husband, M39, and our daughter, F10. Lucas knows he is adopted, but I never told him who his biological parents were or why he was adopted. He knows that we love him and that regardless of DNA he's our son. Lucas never expressed an interest in finding out who his biological parents are. I made it clear to him that if he changes his mind it won't hurt our feelings and we can talk about it. Recently, Lucas showed me a Facebook message he received off Derek. I was shocked. Derek dropped the bomb on Lucas that he and Jenny are his real parents and that I adopted him when he was 3. Jenny and Derek never discussed telling Lucas about this with me, so to say I was angry was an understatement. I called Jenny and asked her what the hell was going on. Jenny brushed it off and said that Derek was drunk and sent the message on a whim. I told Jenny that what Derek did was inappropriate and inconsiderate of Lucas. She said that Derek can do what he wants and I can't shield Lucas from the truth. Lucas has mixed feelings. He's been talking about meeting up with Jenny and Derek, but would I be the asshole if I told Lucas that they gave up custody of him because of his disability? I feel like Lucas deserves the full truth, but I don't want this information to harm his mental health. Wow. First off, I want to give you props for stepping up to the plate. What a challenging situation to handle. I'm adopted and never ever wanted any info on my biological ancestors, but the fact that his aunt and uncle are biologically parents is a whole other dynamic. I would consult with a family therapist and perhaps you and Lucas can meet with them. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The only assholes here are Jenny and Derek. If Lucas asks why he was given up for adoption, then you tell him. But right now, his world has been rocked enough. Am I the asshole for massaging my leg in front of my friend's boyfriend and refusing to apologize? I let my friend and her boyfriend stay with me on Friday night because they were in the city to see a play, and by the time it finished it'd already be late and they'd have a long drive home, so they were planning to get a hotel room or an Airbnb, but I told them they could use my guest bedroom, and when they got back from the play we got takeout. In my opinion, it was quite a good time catching up with my friend and getting to know her boyfriend. After eating we chilled out to Netflix for a bit, and at this point my leg began to have a flare-up. I was in an accident as a teenager which left me with a messed up leg, so during a long day or even just randomly I can be left in horrible pain. This is something all my friends are aware of, as it's just a part of my life that I have to consider whenever I make plans. I just rolled my jean leg up to my knee as I sat on the sofa and massaged the leg and scar tissue to try and ease the pain as we watched The Sandman. I didn't think anything of it until today. My friend told me she hadn't appreciated me showing off my leg in front of her boyfriend and massaging it. I asked her what she meant, and she seemed to be under the impression that I'd done it to try and catch his eye, which I laughed at as I was so shocked, and I asked her how a lot of scar tissue was meant to catch his eye and reminded her I have leg flare-ups and I'd been just trying to ease it. And when she asked me why I hadn't gone into my room to do that, I told her because it's my apartment and we'd been watching something. It's not like I took my jeans off, I rolled the leg up. She wouldn't back down and demanded I apologize, and when I told her I had nothing to apologize for and if it had made her that uncomfortable she could have gone into the guest room with him. After that she ended the call. My friend has always been a bit insecure in her relationship, so maybe I should have been more thoughtful, but doing that is by far the least sexy thing I could have done. It never even crossed my mind that it may upset her at the time, and when I learned it did, she seemed certain I'd done it on purpose, then demanded an apology which made me less inclined to give one. I honestly didn't think that I did anything I should apologize for, but maybe I'm being too stubborn right now. Not the asshole, but don't let him see your elbows next you, Jezebel. Not the asshole. Her head would have exploded if you had been wearing shorts or a skirt. I've never heard of someone thinking that massaging scar tissue on the lower leg was a signal saying, "Hey big boy, come and get it," face with rolling eyes. Not the asshole. No offense, but I'm struggling to see massaging scar tissue as flirtatious. Not even an episiotomy scar, though you'd have to roll the leg up a bit higher for that one.